Was your Game Week 4 absolutely abysmal? Today we're going to take a first look at some of the best transfers to target in Game Week 5. Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. This is a new video format for me, so let me know if you like the layout and also if there's anything else you want covered in future videos. I'll be going through what I think are the best players in each position at various price points for the foreseeable future, and hopefully giving you some useful information to help you with your transfer dilemmas. As usual, let's aim for 10 likes on the video, and let's start off with the goalkeepers. Alisson's probably the best goalkeeper if you're absolutely desperate to go for one of the premiums about now. He's got the best immediate fixtures in Bournemouth and Wolves, and Liverpool have some of the best clean sheet data in the league. He does, however, take up one of your Liverpool spots, and you're probably going to want to use them on attackers. Ederson is 5.5 as well, and they play Arsenal this week. Altogether, I'd probably avoid Ederson. If you're going to go for one of the premium goalkeepers, Alisson or Raya are my choice. Although, if you're going to go for Raya, I'd hold off for 1 week, as they're playing Man City. Easy to put in on wildcard Game 6 if you're playing a wildcard in Game Week 6. He has Leicester, then Southampton. Despite the data showing that Liverpool's defence is actually better than Arsenal's at the moment, Raya is actually on more points than Alisson at the start of the season. He's picking up lots of more save points and lots more bonus points. Raya is the number one choice of the premium goalkeepers for me, but just leave it 1 more week. If you're not a fan of premium goalkeepers, Nottingham Forest Sells is probably your best option at the moment. He's 4.5 and they play Brighton and Fulham next. If you look at the data, he's actually in a better defence, expected clean sheet and expected goals conceded wise, than Ederson and Raya. Another great choice at 4.5 is Brentford's Flecken. Now they don't actually have a very good defensive record in terms of data, but the amount of saves Flecken makes is high above anybody else in the league. Again, much like Raya, I'd wait 1 more week if you really want to put him in. Another great option on wildcard Game Week 6. Next option is Brighton's Verbruggen. Brighton have started the season really well, but they do still have some tough fixtures coming up in Chelsea and Tottenham. Brighton's fixture swing is around Game Week 12, so it might be better to hold off on him until around then. If you're in the market to go for 2 4.5 million goalkeepers, Flecken and Verbruggen actually rotate really well. You can see there that you just play Verbruggen against Forest, Flecken against West Ham, and then you play Flecken again in Game Week 7 against Wolves. Now moving on to the goalkeeper that I would just definitely not put in at the moment, and that's Crystal Palace's Henderson. They've started so poorly in terms of defence, Crystal Palace, and he is just stinking up the gaff. He's actually the second highest owned goalkeeper, playing goalkeeper that is, just behind Raya. He's a definite do not buy for me at the moment if you don't have him, and if you do have him, like myself, unfortunately, then he's pretty much a sell right now. Although my plan is to wildcard in Game Week 6, so I'm just going to suck it up for 1 more week and then put Raya in Game Week 6. If you're absolutely desperate to get him out, then I'd just go for sells at the same price, or bite the bullet, get Raya in a week early and play him against Man City. But that's not ideal. For me, Trent is still the number one defender to go for at 7 million. Liverpool still have some really good fixtures ahead, and I'm just absolutely amazed that he hasn't got an attacking return yet. The data just shows completely the opposite. He should have multiple by now. So I'm sure if you just hold out, if you've got him, they're just around the corner. Pedro Porro's data also looks really good, and they've got a few nice fixtures up and coming. Ola Aina is the highest scoring £4.5 million defender this season so far. In fact, he's actually 4.4. He's gone down in price. Much like Sells, he's playing for one of the best defences in the league at the moment, outside of the top 3. And they've still got relatively good fixtures up until about Game Week 11, so if you're looking at somebody, you get a 0.1 discount, he's your man. I'd steer clear of Mazraoui and Lewis, both for different reasons. Mazraoui came off against Southampton, looked like he'd picked up an injury, And Lewis, well, he started in game week 4 and then got subbed at half time for Guardiola. So if you have him, I'd consider selling him, but also if you don't have him, just don't consider picking him up at all. You never know what you're going to get with Pep Roulette, and with the Champions League coming up as well, you just can't guarantee him playing. If it's a budget player you're looking for, then Van der Berg and Greaves, both at 4 million, could be great options, but at the moment, I'd monitor Van der Berg. He started the last game and played 90 minutes, so if he's nailed for 90 minutes at 4 million in that Brentford team where their fixture swing in game week 6, then I'd go for him as your best 4.0 option. If not, Greaves is guaranteed 90 minutes every week by the looks of it, and Ipswich have some really good fixtures coming up as well. You're never going to get anything spectacular from a £4 million defender on the bench, and they don't have very good goal involvement data, but more than likely you're not going to want to use them that often, if ever. Gabriel is another great option as a premium defender at 6 million in the Arsenal defence. If you want to double up with him and Raya, I wouldn't think you're crazy. He has an ownership of about 12.3%, but expect that to rise massively after he scored in game week 4. Now, don't just put him in because you think he's going to score every week, because that is not going to happen. But he does have the highest chance of an attacking return out of the centre-backs at Arsenal. You're more going to be banking on him keeping those clean sheets, like Arsenal's really reliable defence. Same as Raya, if you don't already have him, I'd wait 1 week so you don't play him against Man City and get him in for the Leicester game. So far, he's got 7.25 points per 90 and he's predicted to get 27.5 points over the next 5. Another defender it could be time to get in is Leif Davis, who plays for Ipswich. He's priced at 4.5 million, but he's only owned by 1.8% of managers, so he could be a great differential. Just remember, this was a guy that got around 17 assists in the Championship last season, and he's already got 1 this season. As well as his obvious attacking threat, the fixtures look really good. They're playing Southampton in the next game, who are quite comfortably the worst team in the league, I think. Then they play Aston Villa, West Ham, Everton and Brentford, all relatively nice fixtures. Ipswich do concede quite a lot of chances, and although they've already got 1 clean sheet this season, I can't imagine they're going to get loads and loads. You're more getting him for his attacking prowess. Now moving on to the midfielders. And I still think Salah's the best midfielder in the whole game, but we'll talk about him in a little while. Palmer and Saka are still great options as the other premiums. Chelsea still have some decent fixtures ahead of them, and we know Palmer's the main man. He's also been left out of the Conference League squad, so you don't have to worry about him playing in Europe. He's going to be fresh for the Premier League every weekend. In regards to Saka, what we learned from last week is that if you do have him, there's probably no point in taking him out for a tough fixture. Many people took him out and put Salah in, myself included, and he returned and Salah didn't. If you have him, just stick with him because Arsenal's fixtures get very easy in game week 6. If you don't have him and you've got premiums to cover your team and you like your team, but you do want him, I'd wait until game week 6 and then put him in. In terms of the mid-price midfielders, I thought I'd mention Bowen. He seems to be flying under the radar a little bit, but he's returned in 3 out of 4 of the games, and West Ham haven't had the easiest start. He may be one to consider in the very near future. Diaz still looks like a good option, but with him and also Jota, they only seem to be getting around 60 to 70 minutes a game. And with the Champions League coming up soon, that rotation could become even worse. I know the data says otherwise, but I would be cautious when you're looking at any sort of Liverpool midfielder that isn't Mohamed Salah. I'd monitor Mbeumo for 1 more game week against Tottenham, but after that I think it's prime time to get him in game week 6, and he could even be the man to replace the guy below him in the chart, Eze. despite the fact that Eze has been putting up some really good data this year so far, he's only returned once. Don't think I'd be buying him right now if I didn't have him. I'd just go for Mbuemo. But if you do have him, then I wouldn't sell him just yet either. I'd give him 1 or 2 more weeks, see what happens, and if he doesn't improve, then I'd cut your losses and transfer him out. Smith Rowe got another return on the weekend, and he's still a great option in my opinion. Although Fulham's fixtures do get harder from now on, at 5.6 he's still a great option to go for. Another great option at 5.6 is Semenyo. He's got returns in 3 of the 4 games so far, and I wouldn't hedge my bets on him getting anything against Liverpool, but after that he's got Southampton and Leicester. If you haven't got him, a great option to get in game week 6. If you have got him, probably an easy bench, but keep hold of him. Like I said earlier, I still think Mohamed Salah is the best premium midfielder you can buy, and he's the best captaincy option for game week 5 by an absolute mile, playing Bournemouth at home. If you've got him, do not transfer him out just because he blanked in game week 4 and got 2. One bad week does not make a bad player, and he's predicted the second most points with 45.7, just behind Erling Haaland for the next 5 fixtures. Onto the forwards next, but just quickly before I get onto them, if you're enjoying the content so far, please consider subscribing to the channel and like the video. It would really mean a lot to me. Anyway, moving on to the forwards, as I said. And Ollie Watkins has finally got himself off the mark. After a relatively slow start to the season, he scored 2 goals in game week 4, and the fixtures look really nice up and coming. Wolves, Ipswich, Man United, Fulham and Bournemouth in the next 5. He's predicted 31.9 points. He was bound to start scoring eventually, looking at the data. He produces just under 2 shots on target per 90, and he gets around 2.5 big chances per 90 as well, so it was only a matter of time before he was putting the goals away. The only small negative with Watkins is that you will have to think about Champions League upcoming and whether the team will be rotated and he will be taken out for less challenging Premier League games to focus on tougher games in the Champions League midweek. They do have a pretty capable replacement in John Duran, who's already scored 3 goals this season himself, one of them being an absolute rocket against Everton in game week 4. A move that I think is going to be really popular in game week 5 is Isak out and Watkins in, if you can stretch the budget, and I'm considering it myself. Isak got taken off at half time in game week 4. Now, it's been reported that he had a slight eye injury, so whether or not he's going to recover from that in the next few days, we don't know as of yet. We'll have to wait for some more information from Newcastle to find out. But I wouldn't be surprised if Isak's price falls again this game week. If you have him at the moment, I would strongly consider selling him, and if you don't have him, just don't go anywhere near him. Another one to monitor or at least leave for one more game week is Kai Havertz. They play Man City in game week 5, so I'd probably give it a miss there. But in game week 6, like Saka, they've got Leicester and Southampton in game week 6 and 7. So if you want to double up on the Arsenal attack, Havertz and Saka are great options to go for. Another great option to go for if you want to take out Isak, and this one actually saves you money. Mateta scored 2 goals in game week 4 as well, and he's down at 7.4 million after his price reduction earlier on in the season. Another thing we learned from game week 4 is that Mateta's taking penalties. A good option if you're looking around the 7.5 price point for a forward, but Crystal Palace haven't really filled me with enthusiasm this season so far, so I'd monitor him at the moment. Another one to monitor is Tottenham's Solanke. He came back for the game against Arsenal, and he got himself about quite a bit. And although Tottenham didn't score against Arsenal, they created quite a lot of opportunities, and against weaker defences, Solanke could be getting the goals. Despite Nicholas Jackson having the best data out of all of them, I would avoid him, to be honest. I just think the Chelsea sort of rotation, I know he's the main striker and probably the only striker, but there's so many attackers that can play sort of around that position that I probably wouldn't go anywhere near him at the moment. Unfortunately for FPL managers and Brentford fans, one of the best options in the cheap striker spot has been subject to an injury. Thomas Frank has said Johan Visser is going to be out for a few months, which is a real hit for them and to FPL managers. As we said, Gameweek 6 was a turning point for Brentford's fixtures, and he could have been a lock in quite a lot of people's teams. João Pedro missed out on Brighton's fixture against Ipswich in Gameweek 4 due to a slight knock apparently. If he's fit for Gameweek 5, I can't imagine he won't start, considering they drew 0-0 to Ipswich and the team obviously looked substantially better attacking wise with him in the team before. Unless we find out for definite he's going to be out again in Gameweek 5, then I'd stick with him. But if you don't have him currently and you're looking for a cheaper striker, I wouldn't actually go for him. The striker at the lower end of the pricing, i.e. 6 million and below, I'd be leaning mostly towards Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I know Everton have had a terrible start. They've given away 2-0 leads multiple times this season, but he's scored twice. He's only owned by 2.1% of managers, so could be a great differential. And the fixtures coming up for Everton are really, really nice. He's predicted 27.1 points in the next 5 games against Leicester, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Ipswich and Fulham. But the good fixtures don't end there. After Fulham, they've got Southampton, West Ham, Brentford, Man United and Wolves. So relatively good fixtures up until about game week 15 where they have to play Liverpool, and then game week 16 where they play Arsenal. So he's got a solid 9 fixtures in which they play all 3 of the promoted teams, and at 5.9 million he could be that enabler that allows you to spend your money elsewhere, on your Haalands, on your Salahs, on your Sakas and all the players like that. Anyway guys, so that's it for the video. If you enjoyed this one, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Leave a comment down below on who you think you'll be targeting for Game Week 5, and if you agree or disagree with some of my choices. But for now, it's goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one.